Hey there guys, welcome back. It's ARTFX Studios Tutorial Tuesday, season number 3 about Neurofunk drum and bass. This is episode number 13. It took a while. It really took a while since last video. I had some problems, ended up going to the hospital and getting some medicine because I had really bad pains in my stomach. So I wasn't really able to make videos. That's pretty much what it's all about. But I'm back, I'm feeling better again, so it's all good again. And I promised last time I did a Tutorial Tuesday that we were going to do some mixing today. And I think we should just get to that. I'm first going to play this track, and then we're going to be doing some mixing. We need to do the mixing before we're going to do the drop, otherwise it's just not going to work. The bass is way too loud right now, and we don't really have much room in this mix at this point in time because it's really cluttered and the levels are all over the place. But anyway, let's play this.
This is the beginning.
Okay, so that's what I have right now. Let's just get to it. I'm gonna put on my headphones for this because I really need to hear this clearly. Like that. And let's get some volume in here. Like so. Let's listen. Yeah, that's loud enough. Now, where are you going to start? Where are we going to start doing a mixdown? Now, the first thing you got to understand is that when you do a mixdown, I'm always aiming at roughly somewhere in between -4 and -6 dB as the end result. That means it's going to be -6 to -4 dB when the track is completely finished, and it's going to be like that in the most busy part of the track, which is usually the drop. So to get there, we need to bring these levels down to the level where they should be. Right now they're all over the place, and I haven't really spent much time and much attention to where the levels are. And we can fix that. We can work with that. We can make the levels what they should be. So I have all these tracks right here, which are group tracks. So I'm going to turn them all off, except the drums. I like to start my mixdown from the drums. The drums are sort of like the backbone of a track, and therefore they give the rhythm, they give the pace, and are usually the most important aspect of your track. So the drums naturally should be the loudest element in your mixdown. So I'm gonna go to a part where we have some drums. Let's just go to here. The drums. This is a part of the track where the drop is actually gonna be. So I've already placed a couple of drums right here, and these are the main drum hits. So I'm just gonna loop that, and if I play this now, we can see right here at the level meter that we're peaking almost at 0 dB. Now, I could place the hi-hats right there as well, and that will make we're already peaking at about 0 dB. So so what I can do now is I can bring the level of the drums down to minus 10 dB. And I usually do this for all the tracks. I sort of like start building my mix down from about 0 dB. So, what? 0 dB? I usually start my mix downs from a level of minus 10 dB. That's what I should say. So I select all these tracks and I just open up one of them. So let's just open up the drums. Wow. And I can bring the level of that down to minus 10 dB. Like that. And because I have all the group tracks selected, now all my groups are going to be at minus 10 dB. So right now, everything has become much quieter. So I'm going to bring the volume up in the editing of this video, so you're all going to be able to hear this clearly. But the drums are now sitting at minus 10 dB. So that's good. Now, during the build-up, we have a bass line as well. And the bass is usually the second most important part of your track, especially in electronic music. There are genres where the synths or your leads might be the second most important part, or a vocal might be the second most important part. But in most electronic music, and especially drum and bass, it's usually the bass that's the second most important part. So that bass track that I have right here is not grouped. So I'm going to group this in a group track. And I'm going to call this one bass. Now I already have a bass track, which is orange. So I'm going to make this one orange as well. Like that. And I'm going to bring the group track to minus 10. And I think the main bass track, yeah, that's it. So I'm just gonna do that. The other thing I want to do, I think, is that I want to have the reverb be applied to the bass group instead of that single track. I might change that later on, but I'm just gonna do that, because if I don't do that, and you're going to be aware of that, is I'm sending this bass into the reverb. But this track is at 0 dB, so it's going to trigger a lot of reverb on the send track. But this one is 10 dB quieter, so if I send this one into the send track, it's going to get less reverb. Now, because I brought the volume down, I don't want to have... the volume is brought down minus 10 dB. So I don't want to have the reverb at the same level as before, because then the reverb would, in context to the main bass, become much louder. So I'm taking that out of the track itself, and I'm doing the synths on the actual group track, and that will make sure that the signal that's sent into the send track, or the return track as it's called in Ableton Live, will actually be the level of this group track and not the level of this track. So it's sort of like a thing you gotta be aware of. Now, we have some drums already here, and we have the bass line now. Those are the only two things that are actually turned on. So let's listen to how loud the bass is compared to how loud the drums are. So the bass is much louder than what it should be. If I compare this, I can look at the bass track, and it's at minus 10 dB. Minus 10 dB is the same level as the drums, but the bass sounds louder. Because it's a much more heavy sound than the drums. The drums are really percussive or really short, and the bass is much more heavier. It has a really powerful sub, and therefore it overpowers the drums. So what we can do is I can bring the level of the bass down. Let's just bring it down with minus 2.5 dB. So it's now at minus 12.5 decibels. And to make it all a little bit easier to hear, I'm going to place that bass right at the drop section of the track. This is not the place where this bass is going to be, but now we're going to be able to hear it a bit better, because here the filter on the drums is completely opened up, whereas here it's actually doing some low pass filtering. I think minus 12 dB is quite okay, maybe minus 12. Yeah. So the bass is going to be at minus 12. So now we have the bass and the drums that are actually set up. I'm going to do the same thing for this bass group. I'm also going to bring that down to minus 12. And on this one we have a glue compressor. Let's just put that glue compressor on the other bass group as well. And I'm going to bring this up. Like that. And we can color this into something orange. And we can take that out again because we don't need that right there. And I'm also going to take the sub pitch drop and I'm going to put it into the new bass group. So this is basically the bass group that we're going to be working with. And I'm not going to be using this one, so we can forget that. I'll color it gray. I'm just going to take bass sounds from this and put it into the other bass group when I need them. Most of these bass sounds are most likely going to be used in the drop section, where we're actually going to use these to resample some stuff and add some little details to the bass line. Now, the next thing I want to look at is, let's see, we've got the effect sounds right here at the build-up, so I can turn it on. Now, I actually quite like the level of this, even though it's at minus 10. I'm pretty sure that the actual level of this track is not minus 10 dB. We can see that. Let's just bring up a glue compressor. If it would be minus 10 dB, then we would see the level peaking right at 0 dB over here, because we're bringing it down minus 10 there. So we would have to see the signal right there. Well, it's not. It's way below that. So I could actually bring this up. And turn soft clipping off on so that we're not going to exceed 0 dB. So this is at, when we have this at minus 10 dB, this would be the actual level that we're going to get. Now that's way too loud, so we would have to bring this down a lot further. To something like minus 20. So that's what we would have to do. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep this at minus 10, and I'm just going to delete that glue compressor. Because I find that the level right here is pretty good, and now we can actually play around with the level of the riser to make it more up close if we want, while keeping the main effect sounds much quieter. And I think this level is pretty good. So the next thing, we have a vocal right here that we can work with, and I think that vocal is going to be way too loud. Oh, we don't have a vocal there. Sorry. We have a vocal over here.
This is the beginning.
Okay, the vocal is actually at a pretty good level.
This is the beginning.
Okay, I like that. Let's turn on the cinematic instruments. Let's see how this sounds over here. Again, we can check the level of this, so I'm going to put on a glue compressor. And we can also see it right here. I don't have to add the glue compressor, but I am going to compress this one. I want to compress these cinematic instruments a bit so that they are all at the same level. It's going to be 0 dB. Pretty slow attack time. And the release, just keep it at that. Okay, so we're getting a really small amount of compression now, and I can bring this up, turn soft clipping on. So it's now at 0 dB. With this at 0 dB, or after the track has been brought down to minus 10, we now hear that this is way too loud. So I can bring this down, and let's just bring it down to somewhere like minus 14. I can bring it down further. So that's quite good. Now, with all that into place, we can see the actual level right here. So just do that and then play it. So we're now at slightly above minus 9 dB. Now, remember, I am aiming for minus 6 to minus 4 dB. But that's after the entire track is done. So at the end of this video, we might actually end up somewhere to minus 7, which is slightly above it, but we're getting close. So we now have this. The electric guitar is right there and sounds good. We also have these instruments. Bring down those synth tracks a little bit because the same thing applies for this one. The send tracks are sending much more to the reverb than they actually need to do. So I think that sounds quite okay. Then we have this one. So that sounds quite good. I like the strings. They sound quite okay. We have the tuba, which comes in right here. We can bring that level up slightly. And I might be able to bring up the low strings. So I want to make this a little bit. Let's give it some more reverb. Let's give it a delay as well. Yeah. So it's starting to sound better. And then right here we have okay. One thing I don't like is that that pitching kind of thing right there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to do this and see how that sounds. So just do something like that. Let's see how that sounds. Okay, so that sounds pretty okay. Now, the next thing I could add is the cinematic percussion. It's quite important as well. So let's just see how that sounds. So again, I'm gonna see what the level is. If we are close to 0 dB with this one, it's actually clipping, so I can let's just do that. So this is now at perfectly at 0 dB, but we're bringing it down to -10. So I'm gonna bring the level of this cinematic instruments up. And I think I'm gonna bring down the electric guitar. Just bringing it down slightly. Yeah, that sounds good. This one. Okay, so we need to take out the low. We need to take out the low strings. Somehow. I'm gonna bring this one up because it's way too quiet. We can do that on the operator itself. Let's do that. So we get. Okay, that sounds good. Now, the next and last element of this mixdown is the synth instruments, which is actually just one instrument. It's that weird low pulsey pad that I had. I think it's a little bit too loud right now, but it can just sit in the mix right there, just in the background. So, I think it sounds quite good now. Now, let's go back to here, and I'm gonna reset. I'm gonna reset my maximum volume, the volume level meter right here. I'm just gonna play this and see at which level we're gonna end up. I hope it's somewhere between -6 and -4. But -7 would be good as well, because we still have a lot of work to do. But right now we're still at -8.23. Okay, and we just went up to a little above -7. So that's good. Looks pretty good.
is the beginning.
Okay, it actually went pretty well, except for one thing. We are ending up at a little above minus 4 dB. So that's actually too high. That's way too high. And the only thing that triggered that high of a level was when that sub hit came in, right here. So I'm gonna check it without that sub. Let's take it out. And let's reset that meter. Let's play this part. See, now we're ending up at minus 6 dB. So that sub is actually triggering quite some volume. And I know why. That's one thing. I definitely know why that is. And that is because the... it's most likely clashing with something else. I might want to check out what it is. On the synth instruments, do we have a lot of sub? No, not much. I don't really need this instrument, actually. Let's just take it out. Goodbye. Cinematic instruments, do we have a lot of sub in there? With quite some sub in there, we can actually take it out. We can do that. So like get rid of that sound a bit. Let's see what that does to our level. Ending up higher if I do that. So let's just not do that. I think there's a big chance it's the actual percussion that's triggering this. Yeah, we have that big drum kind of thing. I think that one creates the sound that makes that. So we can work with that, or we can fix it easily by taking a utility, and this is just a little trick, because that volume spike happens right at the start of that sub bass note, and I can take a utility just like that, and I'm just gonna make a really fast. Oh, not gonna do that. I'm gonna go to here, make a really fast volume automation on that start of the sub note. So we're gonna get that. We just initially take out that transient, and let's listen to how that sounds. Might want to make it a bit shorter, just like that. And let's see what that has done to our volume. So we're now at minus 6 dB, pretty good. And I think it actually sounds quite decent now. So yeah, that's it. That's how you do the main mix down of your track. Normally you would do this at the end of the production process. A lot of people would do this at the end, and that's all right. You know, definitely. When I finish this track, I'll go back and redo the mix down, fine tune everything to make sure it's all at the right spot. But when you're producing music, at some point in time, when you're gonna keep everything at 0 dB, you're just gonna get much louder, 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 and louder, and that's not what you want to do. So yeah, this is what it ends up with, and I think this sounds pretty good. Now, next week we're gonna dive in making the drop. I am gonna be working on it a little bit in the upcoming week. Try to do some work before we're gonna do the video. I'll take you through everything I did and just show you how I did some things. And yeah, other than that, I hope you like this video, and I'll see you back next week in ARTFX Studios Tutorial Tuesday. Peace.